Welcome to the Connected Enterprise Podcast. This is Carl Lewis, your host, and today I have with me a guest from Loop Tie, MK Getler. MK, welcome to the podcast. First thing, right off the top, tell us about yourself and about Loop Tie.
Thank you so much. I am so appreciative of the opportunity to be here and to get to share the space with you today. As Carl said, I am the CMO of Loop Tie, a business that I lovingly joke with our CEO and describe as a sustainability company with a gifting problem. We are very focused on disrupting the space of corporate gifting, which traditionally has been replete with waste. When you think back to the days of traditional direct mail, where you would send these packages out and many people would actually spray and pray and hope that the packages landed on the desk of the person that it was intended for. But more often than not, it would end up in the trash or end up being completely unclaimed. We think that there's a better way to solve that problem. We think there is a more natural way to build connection with folks that does not have environmental waste at the forefront of how they execute it. So Loop Tie thinks about using a gift redemption experience that allows people to choose the gift that they want, and it's all done in a digital interface so that we aren't creating additional waste by things being unused. So everybody gets what they want, and you, as the sender of the gift, get to get people excited about what they actually want to have instead of what you tell them to have when they get a gift for you. So lots of benefit there.
Sounds good to me. It's kind of like Christmas shopping.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Shopping spree.
Make my own list. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm sure that over the last couple of years that Loop Tie, like many of the customers that I've been interviewing and people from all kinds of industries I've been interviewing, has kind of gone through some changes. What's it been like for Loop Tie over the last couple of years?
We are so privileged to have been in the right time and the right place that we were in, especially at a time where so few businesses were at that position of privilege. During the introduction in 2020, the introduction of remote work, and also the introduction of having to restructure how we were going to build connection and connectivity with either our colleagues, our employees, or our customers and partners and prospects, Loop Tie was able to help aid people at that point in time where a lot of the tools in their toolkit were just not available to them to build that connection with their prospects, customers, and partners. Yeah. And so for us, the landscape changed and unfold really positively. We were able to help people find a way to be meaningful and be thoughtful at a time where many of us were feeling helpless and unsure and unclear of where to go. What we're excited about is that lasting impact in how to build connection with people has really stuck with folks. And so we've been positioned to help foster that ability to stay in touch with people and to do it in a really meaningful and thoughtful way.
So some of the things that other people struggled with, like moving to a remote, environment and things like that, you guys were kind of already there.
We were always there from the beginning. And I think, especially with the way that our product is developed, the gift redemption experience is also digital. And with many folks on the receiving end of gifts, maybe picking up and going where the wind takes them, or trying out a new location for themselves, they can put in their preferred mailing address and have their gift sent to wherever they might be or whatever is most convenient for them to receive it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I spoke with one person a few weeks ago who basically decided over the last 2 years to spend their whole career in a van for 2 years. So they were in a lot of different locations over 2 years, right? So
yeah, and have Wi-Fi will work. It's a part of the nomadic digital era that we're in that I think many of the traditional solutions in the space of gifting doesn't have the ability to help problem solve for.
Right, absolutely. So we think we're starting to see the rainbow now, right? Mm-hmm. And so somewhere over that rainbow, tell me what you think the future will be like for Loop Tie. What do you think will change over the next 2 years, provided we really are kind of looking into a new future at this point?
Well, I think the thing that will not change is going to be how people build those bonds with each other. And they do that authentically. We have found that people are really being so mindful of the fact that they've gotten to see people's personal lives around them. For example, you can see my office, my dog might wander in at any moment in this conversation. And that's a side of me in my life that you otherwise would not have met. And so that will stay and that will stick for people. And what we see on the other side, of the rainbow, as you put it, is that people will find new ways to engage and new ways to build better relationships with one another now that we've had that peek, that glimpse into the interworkings of our personal lives. How that will express itself for us, we can find new exciting gifts to offer to folks that complement their lifestyles. You think about, I just mentioned my dog, pet owners. Like, how do we think about what pet owners want? What's the latest, coolest, neatest new experience we can offer to them? When you think about the bigger scale outside of gifting, I really hope that evolves for events that are actually much more intimate instead of the really, really big, giant industry events that, end up being really, really fun in the grand scheme of things. But you may have lost that ability to build that one-to-one connection with people. So that's what we see on the other side of the rainbow. We're excited to help facilitate that. Most importantly, build better that authentic connections for folks wherever they go.
That's interesting you say that because, I think my grandson is a lot more respectful of my space right now than he was 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? A lot of people used to, get to see him in interviews and other things that don't anymore because he sort of has picked up on it at this point. And I haven't revealed a whole lot because I've kept my background kind of very small and unrevealing right at this point. But most people who know me would say they know me pretty well because I'm just that transparent. How do you think, you talked about it a little bit, but some ways that Loop and Tie helped other businesses, because I think you do have a unique business model. And I know it was something that my own company wanted to be a part of. So we anticipate, using your services in the future, but can you be specific about some ways that companies were able to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. And we, by the way, are so excited to get to work with you and the rest of your team. We have found people have such interesting applications of gifting within both their customer lifecycle as well as their employee life cycles. A couple of the ones that I will highlight for this, we have a customer that uses us as a service recovery mechanism. By that, I mean, they spend, whenever there is a situation where they have lost that the level of standard of the service they want to provide, they use Loop and Tie to send a gift to the customer to redeem any of the harm they may have done with a botched service experience. I love talking about the service recovery paradox and how wonderful this is for customer loyalty, but to use just that surprise and delight moment to send a gift to say, I am sorry that we fell short of your expectations. We fell short of our own. Here's a gift to be able to acknowledge and show our appreciation for you being a loyal customer of ours. That one seems to be one that people are really excited to use and continue. We see a more and more folks coming to us to try to be part of that customer experience and solutioning. Another one of my favorite uses of Loop and Tie has really been around the employee experience. We have seen quite a few, at the time of this recording, we are in the month of March, but last month was Employee Appreciation Day. Yep. And we saw so many folks investing time and energy and thoughtfulness into the experiences they were sharing to show their employee appreciation. And so gifts were a perfect way to, one, show that appreciation, and two, build community within all of their employees to say, hey, we appreciate you, we recognize you, and here's a little token of that appreciation and recognition. Right. So those are two really specific tactics you can use, but the way I like to think about gifting is anytime there is a place within that customer experience or the employee experience where you feel you can foster a tighter connection or bond with someone, it's a perfect time and space to send a gift.
Those are two really good ideas for sure. Do you see, I can remember, when sort of gifting was really just novelties. right?
Mhm.
And gizmos and gadgets. And it's grown so much beyond that. And you guys are bringing it to a whole new level. Do you see the whole gifting concept and the gifting industry as being kind of a growing thing for business?
I do. Yeah, I see it as a really important part of your growth. And I think there is growth that is a growth that lifts all. And then there's growth that is growth at all costs for yourself. I think the traditional way of thinking about gifting, with a lot of those tchotchkes, if you will, that we all would get at trade shows, we all walked away with like 15 of those little box chargers for our phones, or like those stress squish balls. Those things can end up actually becoming really harmful in the long term. Many of those things, actually, we saw at trade shows what we were going to, that all of those tchotchkes would just end up by the trash can right before everybody went home, or even worse, at the airport trash can right before they took off for a flight because it just didn't fit in their luggage, or they couldn't keep it, didn't want it. And so our gifting model, with the ability to choose the gift that they want, one, still has that really high-end experience, but also has the choice of a really high-end gift option. We spend a lot of time meticulously choosing the gifts and partnering with the merchants in our marketplace to, one, make sure that you and your brand are only sharing the highest quality, most trendy, most stylish gifts that are available in the market today. But we also do that with a social responsibility underneath all of our practices. We spend a lot of time vetting our vendors for things like, what is your shipping and or what does your packaging look like? Is it environmentally friendly? Are you striving for carbon neutrality or even better, carbon regeneration? Are we also partnering with vendors who come from historically underrepresented or marginalized communities, like women-owned businesses, BIPOC businesses, queer-owned businesses? And are we giving them the opportunity to succeed and thrive in their space? And when you look at the two options for gifting and you juxtapose them against each other, the tchotchke model is still effective. You still have that brand impression in that moment, but that's the only impression you're making. If you were to think about Loop Tie's model, you not only make that impression on the gift that you're sending to that person in that moment of time, you're also making an impression and an impact on the entire ecosystem of businesses that you're supporting. And obviously, if they're environmentally friendly, the environment that you're also helping to improve and make an impact on as well.
Yeah, I've been to way too many trade shows where I've seen that scenario you talked about. Not particularly at my booth, but at other people's booths where they just don't want to haul this stuff back, and whether that's literature or other stuff, right? And I've seen people get real excited about it, who will actually bring a whole bag with them to the trade show so they can get like one of everything. And I think they must be using it as gifts for their children or something.
We joke about my dad with that too, because he would go to trade shows and he would always say, if it's free, it's for me. And he'd come home with his loot for the trade shows and we could ransack his loot and pick the things that we wanted. But at that point in time, then all of that swag was in our hands, and the brand impression was lost for him. He was just getting free things that he could bring to us. And so he had no emotional attachment to the brand that gave him those water bottles or, the stress balls.
Yeah, I know that we can use as many charging blocks at my house as we can lay our hands on. So
yeah,
I don't know where
it doesn't
they
matter
go.
who gives it to us. Yeah,
I don't know where they go, but they all disappear at some point. But interesting. It gives me a whole new ideas, by the way, of how to think about, are there ways to actually incorporate Loop Tie into our conference experience, right?
Yeah,
as opposed
absolutely.
to having maybe being able to do away with some of those gadgets that everyone's so accustomed to. So
the long tail impact of using this experience goes far beyond just that moment at the booth. You have yet another touch point when someone redeems their gift, they accept their gift, and the gift gets delivered. It's just an ongoing moment of interaction and impression as time goes on.
I like that a lot. I didn't think to ask you about this when we were talking a few weeks ago, but other gift agencies, gifting type companies that I've been acquainted with have a very strong kind of seasonal business. Is that true for you guys as well?
Very much so. Yeah, so I've been in the space of B2B tech for gifting specifically for about 2.5 years now. And Loop and Tie's seasonality is unlike any that I've personally ever seen in the space. We spend a lot of time thinking about the Q4 in the fiscal year, in the calendar year, around the holidays. Everybody wants to show their appreciation for their team, for their employees, for their customers, for their partners, for people who have helped them, aid them in their success. And so Q4 is a big, big time of the year for us. We do also see folks that spend a lot of time gifting throughout the year. We do really well thinking about like property management that constantly has tenants moving in and out of out of buildings. We do really well thinking about the customer service recovery. You're, like it or not, you're going to have customer moments where your customer service did not meet the expectations you had. Those things happen ongoing, but there is heaps and heaps of seasonality with our business model, 100%.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, MK, where can people find you guys?
So our name is Loop and Tie, just like you would loop and tie a bow on a present or on a gift. And you can go to loopandtie.com, loopandtie.com. And you can actually start gifting right away. Our product is open to anyone and everyone to send gifts. So in the upper right-hand corner on our website, you can just click Start Gifting, and you'll be able to explore the collections of gifts that you might send to someone who has helped impact you or that you would like to make an impact on. And all you need to do is just put in your credit card information and send it out with our really enhanced digital experience.
Well, that'll be great. I know that some friends of mine that are going to be listening will be going, I got to try that out. So that'll be good to see. Yeah, absolutely. They will. Well, thanks for joining me today and telling us about your services and just about how you guys have handled the past couple of years. Everyone's story is interesting and important and gives other people ideas, for things they can do. So thanks much. And I'm sure that I'm going to be using the service myself here any day soon now. So
excellent. We would love to have you. And thank you so much for inviting me on your show. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And for everyone else, well, just do me one favor and stay connected until we see each other one more time.